It's Wednesday, January 8th, 2025, and we have another update here on our upcoming winter storm. We're finally going to talk about snow totals and give you a projected path. But before we get into that, man, look at these clouds racing over the west coast over here in association with the extreme wind storm that's going on over in California. This is causing an incredible firestorm and a very unfortunate event for our friends over there in Southern California, especially near Los Angeles. Here's the latest information on some of these fires. The Palisades fire is about 3,000 acres. It's burning here. We've got evacuation orders all the way past Malibu here, and the fire is still raging. We've got another very large fire over here called the Eaton Fire, which is prompting evacuation orders all across the Interstate 210 corridor here from Arcadia up past the Rose Bowl, okay? These fires are raging, and one of the reasons for that is there are literal constant 50-mile-per-hour winds over here with occasional gusts of 70 to 90 miles per hour. On top of that, we've got relative humidity levels around 5% in some of these areas. So the smallest little spark can lead to a fire that destroys an entire community. And that's going to continue throughout the duration of the day today. So we do have a PDS red flag warning. This is a particularly dangerous situation. If I was anywhere near these fires and I had the ability, I would be getting the heck out of Dodge. This is erratic fire behavior of the likes we have not seen in decades in California. And once again, it's going to be persistent throughout the day today. I would just make sure I'm paying attention to those evacuation orders as the north to northeast winds are going to continue to pick up, especially through the beginning of the day. And then it's going to take a while to get these things under control, especially once they reach several thousand acres burned. This is what it looked like above Los Angeles last night, looking at the general Malibu and Palisades area. Just a really unfortunate sight, and I think we're going to see a lot of the same and potentially even worse conditions tonight. So our thoughts are with the people over there in California, and I just hope that people are taking heed of the warnings, as this was a pretty well forecasted event, and now we know it's going to continue to get worse today. And you can see here we've got that PDS red flag warning all the way down to the Mexico border, and there are other fires that are starting even near the California-Arizona border as the winds are extreme over there as well. Now, switching our attention over to the big winter storm that's coming up, we now have winter storm warnings in portions of northeast Texas, and a lot of Arkansas is under a winter storm warning. Winter storm watches cover the entire state of Tennessee, a lot of northern Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, a little bit of Kentucky, and we'll probably see this extend through South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia later today. Now, this is going to have extreme impacts, especially the farther south we go. The infrastructure down here really isn't even set up to handle a half inch of snow, so even small amounts of frozen precipitation are going to cause extreme impacts to daily life down here around Dallas. We do expect the I-20 corridor between Dallas and Longview potentially to be a hot spot for dangerous conditions, especially early tomorrow, as ice and snow and rain are going to be falling, and it'll fall heavy at times, so make sure you are prepared for that. Major impacts in the red all the way up to Texarkana, and this is for tomorrow. Remember, if you're in the red or the purple, what you can expect is major to extreme impacts on daily life. We recommend you stay home in that area. The orange is where more moderate impacts will be felt. It'll probably be a little bit more difficult to be out on the roads, and if you can avoid it, we recommend staying off the roads. Now, as we go into the day on Friday, our storm expands, and we have moderate impacts expected across Tennessee, with some major impacts expected up here in northern Alabama, between Huntsville over to just north and west of Atlanta, Georgia, especially around Chattanooga. We do expect there to be some major impacts according to the Winter Storm Severity Index. So make sure you're prepared over here. This is going to be a hard-hitting storm, not necessarily because it's going to be a blizzard or it's going to snow a foot or anything like that, but just because of how hard it's going to snow, how hard it's going to rain and freezing rain and sleet, and how unprepared this area is for those conditions. Here's a look at what the radar could look like as we go through the day today. We're going to have a persistent lake effect snow band that stretches from southern portions of Michigan all the way through Ohio into the mountains of West Virginia. We're also going to see some significant snow setting up over here in Montana into North Dakota and South Dakota. And of course, our main system is coming together over here in West Texas, where we could see some snow and some freezing freezing rain today. This is what the radar could look like around 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see our systems are getting closer to each other. Remember, these are going to kind of phase together here and create a larger system that will become our major to extreme winter storm. Things really get going around 11 a.m. tomorrow, where we expect to see freezing rain and sleet in the DFW metro. Amarillo could be experiencing heavy snow at this point. Also, Oklahoma City could be experiencing heavy snow, especially around 3 p.m. There's going to be a fine gradient between sleet, freezing rain, and snow setting up right around the DFW metro. It will rain and it will snow in Dallas, especially in the beginning. There's probably going to be more rain than snow. The heaviest snow is going to be for our folks over here in southeastern Oklahoma up towards Little Rock, especially around 9 p.m. tomorrow. But look what happens here, especially as we get into the early morning hours on Friday. The backside of the storm is likely going to allow for some cold air to settle into the Dallas region, and this is where you'll get most of your snow. Between 10 p.m. Thursday through about 6 a.m. Friday, there's going to be a persistent band of heavier snow that is going to drop some accumulations in Dallas. And then also, I think we're going to stay all snow in Little Rock. We'll probably remain all snow in Memphis as well, and it's going to be snowing quite heavily around 7 a.m. on Friday in Memphis. Now, unfortunately, that's as far out into the future as that model goes. In order to see any farther, we've got to switch over to the NAM model. And the NAM model has a warm bias, okay? So I think that the rain snow line is going to be a little bit farther south than what this model projects. But as you can see, the flakes will start flying here, especially around 10 a.m. to noon in Nashville. We're going to see snow all the way up to Chicago and into Canada associated with this storm, but the heaviest stuff is going to be right over here in Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and especially in Tennessee. That's where we're going to see our heaviest snowfall rates. It'll probably sleet and snow a little bit in Birmingham. Some heavier mixed precipitation could be possible in places like Huntsville, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia. You're going to be in a similar situation as Dallas, where you're going to be right on the line between snow, freezing rain, sleet, and rain. You'll get more rain probably than snow, but you will get some snow before this is all said and done. We're then going to see the freezing rain spread over South Carolina and North Carolina, with another shot of heavy snow to the Washington, D.C. area, and especially southern Virginia. You guys could be getting in on some significant accumulations with this storm. And notice how the farther east it goes, the weaker it gets. This is not likely to become an East Coast hugger. It's not going to become a major East Coast storm. This thing is just going to skirt out to sea like we suggested it would when we first started talking about this thing several days ago. So here's the full progression. Things will start getting intense tomorrow afternoon. Things will remain intense all the way through probably 10 p.m. Friday, and then we'll have a tapering off snowstorm skirting the northeast coast as we go through the day on Saturday, and then we will be done with it. All right, let's talk about snowfall totals. This is the latest official forecast that we've got here from the National Weather Service. This is a pretty good bet, okay? I'm going to give you my personal opinion on these totals as well. This is a safe, conservative number for you to base your plans off of if you need to prepare for this winter storm, okay? Dallas, about 1.5 inches of snow is a good bet. Now, I think if that backside band is a little bit more intense, like the HRRR shows, we could see a little bit more than this. In fact, probably double this even is on the table in Dallas from the current looks of things. But I wouldn't be surprised if you only ended up with 1.5 inches of snow. I also wouldn't be surprised if you got 3 to 4 inches. So that's about what we're expecting in Dallas. Remember, it's going to start off as rain and sleet, and then it'll end as snow. Now, if something crazy changes and it starts off as snow and it snows for most of the day on Thursday, then that number is going to go up quite a bit. Dallas is going to be a tricky one, but a safe bet is about 1.5 inches of snow. Travel is going to be very treacherous. It's going to be extremely dangerous to be on the roads when this thing first starts putting down a ton of snow. So keep that in mind. And the heavier totals are going to be up here in northeast Texas, likely 4 or 5 inches or so. Southeast Oklahoma will have some places that reach 6 to maybe even 8 inches of snow. Over here towards Little Rock, 7 inches is a good bet. Wouldn't be surprised to see only 5. Wouldn't be surprised to see 9 to 10 inches over here. So definitely going to be a decent snowstorm for our folks over here near Little Rock. Same thing for you guys over here in Memphis. 6 inches is a good bet. Nashville, you're going to be farther away from the heaviest precipitation. So 4 or 5 inches is a better look here, I think, as far as the snow totals go. But just to your south, near Huntsville, there's going to be some places that pick up on 7 inches of snow or more. Chattanooga, I think this is going to be one of the really hot spots, especially in some of the higher elevations. We're going to exceed 8 inches down here. But even in the valleys, 6, 7 inches is going to be very possible through Friday. Saturday, so make sure you're ready. From Huntsville to Chattanooga to Knoxville, this is going to be a pretty hard-hitting snowstorm for you. Birmingham, same situation as Dallas, probably about 1.5 inches of snow. Wouldn't be surprised to see 3 or 4 inches. This is a good bet. Same exact story in Atlanta, 1 to 2 inches. Wouldn't be surprised to see 4. But 2 is a realistic look. Charlotte, you guys are going to get in on a lot of the freezing rain and sleet. That's going to cut into your snow totals. About the same situation as Dallas. It's very unfortunate that most of our major metropolitan areas are going to be right on the line between rain and snow. Some of you are going to be surprised. It's going to snow more than forecasted. Some of you are going to be utterly disappointed because the rain's going to win. Up here in eastern Kentucky where I live, the forecast up here is showing 8 inches, but I think a lot of this is from the little system that's going through today. So cut that number in half, honestly. I think that unless you're in the higher elevations of eastern Kentucky, I don't think that we're going to see 8 inches of snow, but definitely 4 or 5 inches is going to be possible all across eastern Kentucky. Lexington, 3 inches or so. Louisville, 3 inches or so. Charleston, 3 to 4 inches. Over here in Virginia, I think South Central Virginia could see 4 to 5 inches. Richmond, 3 to 5 is possible. And then the farther east you go, it becomes a weaker storm, right? So I don't think that we're going to see much over here in Washington. 2 to 4 inches is possible. Virginia Beach, 4 inches is possible over here. And then right below the heaviest snow bands, we are going to see freezing rain. This is not going to be a big ice storm like what we saw the other day, but there are going to be some places that pick up on maybe 1/4 inch of ice or more, especially out here in South Central Texas. I'd be watching out for some sporadic power outages, especially with the cold air moving in. This is not the kind of weather that Texas infrastructure is set up for. So not only is the travel going to be extremely dangerous, but we're probably going to have a bigger problem down here with power outages as the grid's not going to be able to handle all of the cold air that's going to be coming in. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to be a big ice storm, but it's certainly going to be treacherous even over here in the tri-state area, the Texarkana area, especially in northeastern portions of Texas. Another hot spot for ice is going to be on the border of Georgia and South Carolina near Anderson and Greenville and places like that. Make sure you guys are prepared for some sporadic power outages as well. So the reason we're talking about snow so far south is because we've been in a persistent cold pattern, and I'm here to tell you that it's not going anywhere. Another large plume of Arctic air is coming in as we go into next week, Monday, January 13th. We're going to continue to see exceptionally cold air move into the southeast. It's not warming up anytime soon. In fact, it'll be just as cold as it is now, likely a week from now in the Ohio Valley, over towards the Appalachian Mountains, even down into Florida. Things are not warming up anytime soon. Climate Prediction Center is showing below average temperatures, especially the farther east we go, at least through January 17th. So lock it in. We're here to stay in Cold Town. So once again, I want to invite you guys over to the YALLBot channel, the Ryan Hall Y'all Extra channel. There's a link in the top of the description to keep up with the latest alerts. This is 24/7. It's relaying all of the latest reports and warnings as they come in. There's a good chance that we're going to go live for a portion of this storm, especially if it ends up being significant in Dallas, in Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, in those areas. So we're on standby mode. We're not sure exactly what our plan is for a live stream just yet, but if we don't go live, this will be here for you. And we've got storm chasers that'll be out there that will show you their cameras through this, traffic cameras, all that good stuff. So make sure you're tuning in to the live 24/7 National Weather Alerts channel that we provide for free over here 24/7 on the Ryan Hall Y'all Extra channel. Also subscribe to my channel. Turn notifications on, because if we do go live, you'll get that notification as soon as it happens. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you all so much for helping us get real information out there to the masses. There's a lot of noise ahead of big storms like this. I'm sure you've seen the maps that showed 30 inches of snow for Dallas or whatever. I think we've done a really good job of keeping things realistic and avoiding the hype too much here. So thanks for giving us a platform for reasonable weather forecasts, and we're going to keep doing it. All right. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.